Hi, good morning. I'm Lynne Sheridan and I'm coming to you from my office. And anybody who has ever been in my office knows that I have all cultures reflected in this office, all time periods. So I want to talk to you briefly about powerful conscious breathing. So first I want you to consider, what do Russian Hay Crest Christian monks have in common, 11th century, have in common with ancient China, ancient, like BC, well BC, and Huna of Hawaii, as well as Russian Special Forces and American Green Berets. What do all of them have in common? They all practice conscious breathing. Conscious breath work as a chance and a way to heal themselves in many different ways. A way to stay grounded, centered, non-reactive, focused, healthy, and clear, even in incredible circumstances and conditions. So, conscious breathing heals us on 4 different levels. Conscious breathing heals us physically, emotionally and intellectually, mentally, spiritually, and from a consciousness perspective. Physically, conscious breathing supports us through, there's been all kinds of studies on ADHD, PTSD, acute stress, acute trauma, cardiac disease, elevated blood pressure. I can go menopause. I can go on and on and on. There are medical studies that show conscious breathing alters in a favorable way all of those conditions, powerfully, quickly, and naturally. And conscious breathing also alters our breath patterns. You may notice we have restricted breathing patterns. I'm sure there are times you notice you may be breathing more shallow. At times you may be breathing more labored. Those patterns are altered through conscious breathing so that your breath becomes more relaxed in any circumstance and condition. Also, it changes things like asthmatic breathings or patterns where things feel labored or locked. That's altered. I'll tell you a quick story about that in a minute. Emotionally and mentally, conscious breathing is powerful because any trauma that's stuck in our body, whether it's sexual abuse, rape, incest, violence, all of that is held at a cellular level in our body. It's locked in there. Breath releases that. It releases that so that it no longer keeps playing out in your life today, in your relationships and who you are on a day-to-day basis. Conscious breathing also shows us mental patterns, intellectual patterns that we have had in our life over a period of time. So they're presented almost like you're watching a movie and you get to see the pattern played out again and again and again from an objective standpoint. It's powerful. Also, conscious breathing alters us spiritually. A lot of times the coolest things that people will say with deep conscious breathwork sessions that they had an experience of being one with God, with being expanded, floating in the cosmos of the universe. And that translates into the day-to-day of life, having a sense of peace, less reactivity on a moment-to-moment basis. Also, conscious breathing expands our consciousness so that we have an elevated, heightened state of consciousness. That means the day-to-day and the little things that might get under our skin, we approach in a different way. We are present and centered. So why am I so passionate about this? I've spent the last 2 years going down the rabbit hole of learning a lot about the breath and the power of the breath. The first breathwork session I did, my friend Jeff Cosby, who is coming to Orange County soon to do the Wisdom of the Heart training on March 10 through 12, Jeff Cosby met me, and he and I have not seen each other. At that point, we had not seen each other in over 20 years. We were coordinating our schedules, and the only place that we could get together was in Hong Kong. And we needed a place where we could breathe. And I had a friend, and she was out of town, so we borrowed her bedroom in Hong Kong. So I was telling my husband, I'm going to meet Jeff Cosby in Hong Kong. I have not seen him in over 20 years, and we are meeting in my friend's bedroom, and he's going to do breath work while I lay down. My husband's like, tell me a little bit about this guy. I said, you have nothing to worry about. This is a master trainer, somebody I've known for many, many years, and big, solid integrity. And so we did this powerful breathwork session. I didn't know what to expect. It was a good hour and a half long. I had no idea how long it was because time morphs and becomes completely different. And I came out of the session and Jeff asked me what I noticed. I noticed a lot of things in that session. One, I had an experience of being one with God and being outside of my body and seeing myself in my body. So noticing what was occurring in my body from a separate perspective. And I wanted to do it immediately again. I also noticed I had a cutoff. I noticed that I wasn't breathing in my belly, and I couldn't feel my legs a lot of the time, and that I could either get the breath down into my lower belly or up here, but it wasn't unified. And that was intriguing to me. And I started to play with it, and I realized that at about 5 years old, I was in a pretty traumatic car accident where I almost died, and a gas tanker truck went into the back of our station wagon. I was in the old days, you could look facing out in the station wagon, and I was facing out. My brother jumped in the middle seat, and I froze, and the whole back end was getting smushed in. And at the last minute, my brother Kevin, thank you Kevin, picked me up under my armpits. He pulled me in the center seat, and he saved my legs. He saved my face. There was glass shattered all over me, and probably saved my life in that moment. And that was the cutoff point in the accident. And I realized that I was not unified between my upper and lower. So in the last 2 years of doing extensive breath work and becoming certified in breath work and learning a lot about breath work, I have altered that completely. I now can get a connected breath. I had asthma as a child. I now have eradicated my asthma. I can completely have fluid breath even in the midst of things being triggered. I have become completely less reactive so that I have a sense of non-attachment to whatever's occurring even in the moment. I can go on and on and on. I'm obviously passionate about diaphragmatic conscious breathing. I am inviting everybody, please be in the wisdom of the heart. If you have any questions about this, please contact me online. I am passionate and super excited about sharing this work. Have a beautiful day and breathe.